This is an online Catholic Bible study program produced by J.C. for me. Lesson 5, The Book of Exodus. Notes prepared by J. Aloysius Ignatius, Father Gerard J. D. Silva and Father Trevor de Souza, OFM. Summary. Exodus is a significant book that covers three crucial events. First, the liberation of the Israelites from Egyptian slavery. Second, the establishment of the covenant at Mount Sinai, and third, the construction of the tabernacle or sanctuary. The framework of the book includes the following key events. A. The story of Moses, Exodus chapters 1 to 7. B. The 10 plagues, Exodus chapters 7 to 11. C. The Passover, which is crucial for understanding the Eucharist and Jesus as the Lamb of God, Exodus chapter 12. D. The crossing of the sea, Exodus chapters 13 to 15. E. The long and arduous journey through the desert, Exodus chapters 15 to 18. F. The covenant and the 10 commandments, Exodus chapter 19 following. G. The unfaithfulness of the people and the renewal of the covenant, Exodus chapters 32 to 34. H. The construction of the tabernacle, Exodus chapter 35 and following. To deeply understand the sacraments of baptism, Eucharist, and priesthood, as well as the significant I am statements of Jesus like I am the bread of life, I am the living waters, and I am the resurrection and the life, it is crucial to thoroughly study and comprehend the book of Exodus. This examination also sheds light on numerous other aspects of our Christian life. 1. Name and meaning of the book of Exodus. The name Exodus is derived from the ancient Greek word meaning going out. It is the second book of the Bible, documenting the liberation of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt by the hand of Yahweh. This monumental event is one of the greatest in the history of salvation. Additionally, the book of Exodus includes the revelations at Mount Sinai and the subsequent divine indwelling of God with Israel, among other significant occurrences. 2. Time span. Around 1800 BC, Jacob and his family entered Egypt, approximately 500 years before the Exodus. During this period, the Israelites thrived and grew in numbers. However, around 1720 BC, the Hyksos took control of Egypt, marking the beginning of severe bondage for the Israelites. The Exodus occurred around 1250 BC. 3. Authorship of the Book of Exodus. The Book of Exodus suggests multiple times that Moses authored substantial portions of it. Following God's instructions, Moses wrote down all the words of the Lord, Exodus chapter 24 verse 4, which included documenting the battle with Amalek, Exodus chapter 17 verse 14, the 10 Commandments, Exodus chapter 34 verses 4:27 to 29, and the Book of the Covenant, Exodus chapter 20 verse 22 to chapter 23 verse 33. Additionally, Moses is identified as the one who recorded the starting places according to their journeys, Numbers chapter 33 verse 2, and who wrote the law, Deuteronomy chapter 31 verse 9. 4. Context in which the book of Exodus was written. Jacob's sons and their families joined their brother Joseph in Egypt, collectively known as the Israelites. They began to grow in number, Exodus chapter 1 verse 7. Fearing their increasing population, Pharaoh forced the Israelites into slavery and persecution, even ordering the drowning of all newborn boys in the river, Exodus chapter 1 verse 22. A Levite woman saved her baby by setting him adrift on the Nile in a papyrus basket. Pharaoh's daughter found the child, named him Moses, Exodus chapters 2 verse 10, and raised him as her own. Moses was aware of his origins. One day, he killed an Egyptian who was beating a Hebrew slave and fled to Midian, Exodus chapter 2 verse 15. In Midian, he married Zipporah, the daughter of Jethro, a Midianite priest. He encountered God in a burning bush, Exodus chapter 3 verse 2. When Moses asked God for his name, God replied, I am who I am, Exodus chapter 3 verse 14. God instructed Moses to return to Egypt and lead the Hebrews to Canaan, the land promised to Abraham. Moses returns to Egypt but fails to convince Pharaoh to release the Israelites. Consequently, God afflicts the Egyptians with 10 devastating plagues, the last being the death of the firstborn sons, Exodus chapter 12 verse 29. Following Pharaoh's change of heart and a final chase, Moses leads the Israelites out of bondage. Their desert journey is arduous, causing the Israelites to complain and long for Egypt. God miraculously provides manna for food, Exodus chapter 16 verse 4, and water for them. Upon arriving at the mountain of God, God asks Israel if they will be his people, and they agree. The people gather at the foot of the mountain, witnessing thunder, lightning, fire, clouds of smoke, trumpets, and the trembling mountain as God appears on the peak. They see the cloud and hear God's voice, Exodus chapter 19 verse 19. God instructs Moses to ascend the mountain, where he pronounces the 10 commandments to all Israel and gives Moses the 2 tablets of the covenant, written by God's finger, Exodus chapter 31 verse 18. While Moses is with God for 40 days and 40 nights, Aaron, at the people's request, crafts a golden calf, which the people then worship, Exodus chapter 32 verses 4-6. God informs Moses of their apostasy and threatens to destroy them but relents when Moses pleads for their lives, Exodus chapter 32 verse 14. In his anger, Moses descends from the mountain, shatters the stone tablets, and commands the Levites to kill the unfaithful Israelites, Exodus chapter 32 verse 28. God then instructs Moses to carve 2 new tablets on which he will rewrite the words from the first tablets, Exodus chapter 34 verse 1. Moses ascends the mountain again for 40 days and 40 nights, Exodus chapter 34 verse 28, during which God dictates the 10 commandments, and Moses inscribes them on the tablets. When Moses descends, his face is radiant from speaking with God, and he must cover it with a veil, Exodus chapter 34 verse 29. Moses gathers the Hebrews and reiterates the commandments he has received from God, including instructions on keeping the Sabbath and constructing the tabernacle. Once the tabernacle of the tent of meeting is completed, the children of Israel follow all that God had commanded Moses, Exodus chapter 39 verse 42. From that point onward, God dwells in the tabernacle and directs the travels of the Hebrews. 5. Theme of the book. The law was given after God had redeemed his people from Egypt, not as a means for them to achieve his acceptance, but because they were already the recipients of his love and rescuing grace. This law serves 2 main purposes. A. To expose the need for grace that God offers. The law reveals sin, showing us what is wrong, which we wouldn't know otherwise. B. To serve as a beautiful guide for everyday living. The Israelites, having been in bondage and without choices for so long, needed to understand how to live properly in their newfound freedom. Thus, God provided them with his law. Thus, God's law was not a means of earning his acceptance. Rather, it is a gift of grace to those he has already accepted, a continuation of his redeeming grace. The people he has rescued are now to be restored to what he created them to be. Grace encompasses not only rescue but also restoration. Both aspects of this grace are essential for us. 6. Conclusion. The people whom God has chosen are now in slavery. The themes of slavery, rescue, and restoration are central to this narrative. The redemptive story of the Exodus is powerful because it shows God's willingness to unleash his mighty power to rescue his people. It foreshadows what God will do throughout the rest of the redemptive story. He will harness the forces of nature, control human history, dictate the rise and fall of kings and princes, and drive the narrative by his power, so that at the perfect moment, the Redeemer will come and deliver us from the ultimate slavery to sin. Exodus is a drama of slavery and suffering, illustrating the redeeming blood of God, who performs unimaginable, magnificent acts out of love for his people. Thank you for viewing and listening to this lesson. Kindly place your feedback in the comments. Kindly subscribe and share. God bless you.